What's up, guys? I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but unfortunately today's title is not exactly clickbait. I am, unfortunately, quitting Pokemon Go PvP for the foreseeable future. Yep, that's right. I'm hanging up the balls. This is as far as I go, and it's been fun. But I do feel like I owe you guys an explanation as to why. I know I've been pretty vocal about it on Twitter and on stream, but YouTube, you guys were the first, I guess, my first love at this point, and where I kind of all got started, and it's been hard to get you guys information over anyone else. So, as you guys may have noticed, through my content, my videos have been getting kind of more negative and more negative, finding excuses for losses through lag, etc., 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 even to the point where a lot of the comments I get from you guys, or some of them are like, well, why don't you just quit? And you know what? It turns out it was actually a pretty good idea. The reason I couldn't do something like that right off the bat is because I do have an obligation to play, right? As a content creator, I have an obligation to my Patreon supporters to provide content for them, to provide coaching for them, and if I'm not playing, then how can I trust myself to be a good coach? But I'll get more into Patreon supporters later. I just really want to go over quickly why I'm quitting in the first place. So, as you guys have probably noticed, I've been becoming more and more skeptical as far as the quality of the game goes, and if it's actually ever going to be fixed. In fact, I'm just going to go through a little bit of history and some of the older tweets. So this was a year ago, and Pokemoners had just found out that they had announced a fix for what looks to be fast move inconsistencies, which is the main thing that's plaguing this game, right? It just treats every player differently depending on where you live in the world, which shouldn't be in a game. It increases the inconsistency of gameplay itself, and it's extremely frustrating because it punishes players who've actively worked to get better at the game. So this is June last year. This is when I first started becoming skeptical, because they announced this fix right in the middle. I don't remember what was happening, but people were mad. They were mad on the level of the incense nerf mad. And then all of a sudden, this comes out. I'm like, timing's kind of sus. If it gets fixed, great. But we have the power of hindsight now. Nothing got fixed, right? So same thing kind of happened again. I found this this tweet, and I retweeted it at the beginning of, or the end of the last season, not the last interlude season, at the end of season 10, because they'd kind of announced that they're going to fix a bunch of things. And I was like, how is this not the same thing as last time? How are you guys not just pulling the wool over eyes again and again, and we just keep eating it up? And honestly, that's kind of exactly what happened. They then announced this interlude season, which was great. Like, this announcement was great. I made a video on it. This is great. They're communicating with us. They're telling us they realize the issues with the game and that they're going to solve them. So therefore, we have decided the next season of Go Battle League will be an interval season. I think they meant interlude. Awards will be based on battles won, but ratings will not be visible, nor will they affect rank. And they know when this happens, because of season 5, when there's no rank, the interaction with their game goes way down. So they're essentially hurting all content creators. They're hurting their own game for one purpose, and it's a noble one. It's to fix their game, which is what we all want. What all of us watching this video today wanted was just the game to be fixed. Unfortunately, fast forward 3 months later, and it wasn't even close to fixed. Nothing had changed, really. If anything, the game had gotten worse. So I made a tweet. And this is kind of where the whole retirement stems from. We're 83% through the season, nothing is fixed. Complaining for 2 years has not worked. Hope my actions speak louder than my words. If fast moves are not fixed by next season, I'm sorry to announce I'll be retiring from Pokemon Go, PvP, and content creation. And yeah, this was May 16th, so I gave them a good 2 weeks as well to hopefully roll out what they had started. Unfortunately, not really the case. So I did one final stream, and if I found some fast moving consistencies, and I'm not just saying some, I was gonna end up retiring, because I think for a long time the community, we've been complaining, but we don't do anything. We don't quit. We don't speak with our actions. We just keep playing the same old game. and it doesn't get better, and we wonder why every time. So even if they do fix it, yeah, funny timing. One day after I retired, or I'll just show this tweet first. So in 6 sets, because I saved an extra set, there were 92 instances of fast move denial, which is not an intended effect. There were 7 desyncs, so that's 99 drinks I had to take because the game wasn't working properly. So I don't even think I was being too harsh in my criticism of the fact that this is broken and I should be leaving. It's not in a good state. And that's not even mentioning all the lag, the general lag, the third shields, the missing charge move buttons, all of that stuff. And then I guess the one good thing that did come out of this was I did make a tier list of all the bugs. There's over 40 of them that have existed throughout time. So that might be kind of fun to check out. But the interesting part is that they actually put out a fix, or they announced a fix, or Pokemoners once again announced a fix for fast move inconsistencies. And that was the day after I retired. So I don't know if we believe in coincidental timing here, or if they're just trying to get rid of me first, or maybe my threat of retirement actually worked. Who knows? Either way, if it works, I'd be so happy for you guys who are still playing this game, because it's a good game when it's working. Unfortunately, it just isn't a lot of the time. And then that brings me to a question that you guys are probably all thinking right now. If the game does get fixed, are you coming back? And that's a difficult question, because I feel like my relationship with Pokemon Go is kind of that of an abusive domestic relationship, like a real life relationship with someone else. I feel like every time something has been fixed, I come crawling back immediately without a second thought. It's like, oh yes, of course it's better. Of course they've changed now, right? But that just hasn't been the case, and nothing ever really seems to change. And if it does, that's all for the better. But I'm not going to spend my life waiting around for a company that I truly don't believe can change to change. So if the game is fixed, and it's fixed for a reasonable amount of time, and they're not just adding new bugs that they don't fix for 2 years back into the game, maybe one day I'll come back. But for now, I feel like this is one of those relationships you just have to cut off, unfortunately. But yeah, and I wanted to go over another big reason why I quit, or I'm quitting as well in the first place. A lot of it has to do with Niantic not really living up to their end of the bargain and not really being what I consider a competent company. But also what my motivation for content creating and coaching and stuff like that in the first place was. So those of you who've been here from the start, I originally got my start on Reddit. I just wanted to help people. I made a team that took me to the highest rank in like 2 days. It was insane. I've never seen a team perform so well. Even to this day, a better team in a particular meta may never have been made. It was Shadow Victor Bell, Deoxys, and Bastion. And my goal was not to make a toxic environment in GBL, which may have been a side effect, but it was to help people, and it was to teach people. I've always, in my life, wanted to teach people. And that's not something I've been able to do in my real life. So when I got the opportunity in Pokemon Go, this was filling a very specific personal need for myself. Through content creation, first of all, so making videos that people can follow along and hopefully learn something, or learn how to play a team, or just honestly, like, if you didn't learn anything, then just had some fun, just gotta relax or something like that. And I found out recently that as lag has increased, all the joys of coaching have kind of slowly dissipated as well. Like, I used to love seeing people's progress. They improve at counting, they improve their rating. It's so easy to see them just go up and improve as players, and it was fantastic. But in a coaching session with one of my students, I would say a couple of months ago, I had a conversation with them, and they essentially said, wow, thank you so much for this. Thank you so much for the coaching. I would never have been able to recognize that I just lost a lag there. I would have blamed myself. And I'm like, wait a second. What I'm doing now is essentially helping people get to a point in the game where they realize they're being screwed by the game. Pokemon Go PvP is one of those things where I truly believe now ignorance is bliss. Because if you don't know how to count moves, you're not going to know there was an invisible sneak. If you don't know how to count moves, you're not going to notice that there was 2-turn lag. If you haven't paid attention to fast move denial, you wouldn't realize that there's extra moves getting stuck on you because you live in Europe or India all the time. And that's kind of a pretty big issue here for me, is that I feel like while coaching used to be fun because I was helping people, now I'm helping people see how broken this game is and ruining their enjoyment of the game as well. But yeah, this decision honestly has been a really tough one. It's not easy to just take everything you've worked so hard for and kind of just throw it into the trash like that. Because, like, well, I mean, as far as Patreon goes, I'm shutting that down effective immediately. I already paused this month. I told all my Patreon supporters that were on Discord, which I guess you guys probably should all be, that I would be doing this. So I'll be refunding the last 3 months because also nobody really cared about the interlude season at all. So for all the coaching tiers, not the meta-analysis tiers, because I did put out a bunch of meta-analysis videos for the interlude season. But yeah, no, if it weren't for Patreon, I could not have done this at all. So everyone supporting me through Patreon, it's been a blast. And also, right before I retired, I got to see one of my original Patreon supporters as well. Sinir, Greenish Backwards, Cindy, probably know her from King's channel. She won regionals. That was so good to see. I was a perfect little cap off, I think, for for my content creation career, getting to watch her actually live the dream, honestly. She played fantastically, so. But yeah, as far as next steps here, I'm probably just done in general. The one reason you may not want to unsubscribe right away is if they do fix the game, I may not return to play it, but I might put out one last little set of advanced mechanics videos to cover the mechanics of the new system that they're allegedly working on to help you guys. But as far as gameplay and stuff like that, I'm probably done. I think I might play like a little bit if I feel like I want to get the legend pose at the end of the season or something like that, but it'll be like bare minimum games. I really don't want to be worrying myself over this. And I'll probably finish off factions with my factions teammates because I feel like I owe that to them as well. Yeah, I guess I've kind of rambled enough. Just huge shout out to all you guys out there watching these videos in the first place. I honestly got to live my dream for 2 years, and even though it has to end like this, I had a blast. I never really thought I could do something like that myself in terms of setting up sort of an entrepreneurial coaching, teaching business. I never thought I'd be good enough at anything ever to be able to pull that off. And it was all thanks to those of you who watched these videos in the first place and helped prove to myself that I was doing something that was valued by the community, and otherwise I would never have pursued it. So really, really, really thank you all for helping me live my dream for the better part of 2 years there. But yeah, hopefully the game gets fixed, and hopefully you guys can still continue to enjoy it. And one last time, thanks for watching.